Today is February 13th, and it is the 9th anniversary of the day that I watched them lower my daddy into the ground. Life is sneaky and clingy and uncomfortable, and it's a shape-shifting beast. And in my debut novel, How to Water Your Garden, my main character is grieving. And that was a very intentional choice because when I lost my father, the only way I knew how to rationalize it and make sense of it was to be composed, was to be strong, was to show up, was to respond to grief in the correct manner. And so I wanted a character who didn't do that. I wanted a character who was uncomposed, who was raw, who was messy, who was confused, who cried at the drop of a hat and didn't try to stop it. And so in my novel, How to Water Your Garden, Amara is grieving and she doesn't know how to grieve and she doesn't know how to find her next breath and she doesn't pretend that she does. And in the midst of all that, she's still chosen. She's still wanted. She's still seen through the grief. And she learns how to water herself. She learns that you don't move on from grief, you move with it. It's knowing that the love that we give people here on this earth is not going to be perfect. You don't need to feel guilty for an imperfect love. So this 9th year without my dad is not as smooth as I was expecting. You know, in my mind, I'm like, it's been 9 years. There are still some days where that next breath is real elusive. In this novel, Amara Quinn is doing some of the things that I didn't have the bravery to do. Amara Quinn is broken, but beautiful. And it's in the brokenness and the honesty and the rawness that she's able to be loved. Because I think grief honestly has a beautiful way of breaking us, and the most stubborn parts become these shattered mosaics of our humanity. And it's the only way for us to truly ever be loved is to be completely vulnerable and raw and helpless to an extent. There is something about grief that makes you needy. I need to be held, I need to be seen, because without it, this day is impossible. Without it, breathing is impossible. And so grief is a very heavy theme in my book because it's a very heavy theme in my own life. And so I wanted to give it a place to live. I wanted to give it a place for other people to kind of see it and go, oh, this is what you were thinking. This is what you were feeling. And so How to Water Your Garden, in a way, a metaphor of how to water your grief, how to give it a place to sit. Because if you don't water your grief, if you don't let it breathe, that thing, you're going to smother it and it's going to turn into something ugly and it will eat you whole unless you learn how to tend to that as well. The book comes out in spring, y'all.